I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review, a local name, Global Perspective. Joining me is Ryan Blake, who is an NBA draft guru. Should I call you a guru, Ryan?
Well, we'll leave that for my dad. My dad was a guru, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the draft. So this is kind of like my Super Bowl leading up to the Super Bowl, which is the draft in June.
And for those who don't know your dad, let everybody know who he is.
My father, Marty Blake, he used to be a general manager of the St. Louis Hawks and then Atlanta Hawks. And then back in the 70s became the director of scouting for the NBA and did so for many, many, many years. Was a pioneer amongst many things in terms of scouting and evaluating. And I got to tag along with him at an early age, from the ABA days to throughout the NBA, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and until now.
And let's get right into it. I noticed your shirt there. You got the P.I.T logo, the Portsmouth Invitational logo, the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament logo. That just finished not too long ago. Describe some of the guys and players you saw there, including 2 Houston players.
Yes, so Portsmouth, this is our 68th year of the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. It's a college senior only tournament. We have not been able to have this for the last 2 years because of COVID. And as a result, everybody, including the city of Portsmouth, but the NBA players, the evaluators, they're excited to finally get back to Portsmouth and evaluate those seniors. But this year was the first time that we allowed non-college seniors in terms of, well, I think, because of the new COVID rule, every NCAA player gets an extra year. So you had 4-year college seniors, and some had, declared for the draft. In other words, if you're a 4-year college player, you have to declare for the draft,
right,
in order to be eligible, right? So there was a number of those players that didn't want to go back to school. They declared for the draft and were allowed to, well, not allowed, but they came and played. It was a great event, 64 players, 8 teams. Every team attended, a number of scouts. We had a great tournament. Now, after 2 years, you don't know how everything's going to run, but the city of Portsmouth, man, they gelled so good and so well to bring this all together. It's all volunteers, and it ran so smoothly this year.
What was your overall assessment of the talent of the players there?
I think the talent was extremely high. We had guys like Kiva Luma, Michael DeVoe from Georgia Tech, who was our MVP, who showed a lot of his versatility. He was on the team that won. He was unselfish, but was able to score, utilized his skill set to make his teammates better. You had a player like Javonte McCoy, who came in and proved that he can play a number of positions, can run the point, can play, 1, 2, or 3. Jared Roden from Rhode Island, or even a guy like Justin Bean from Utah State, who showed his perimeter skills, excellent shooting, his defensive ability, and his athleticism. Josh Carlton, another player who made the all-tournament team, was one of the better players, one of our better bigs. And another player that we said, okay, if we bring these guys together, all right, and I'm sort of the players' representative, and when I talk to them during orientation, I say, listen, I said, the best thing that you can do is you come out here and you got to play defense. All right, you're not going to make an NBA team. You're not going to make it open up any doors if you don't go out there and play defense. And the best thing that you can do is to play to win, not just to shoot, not just to score. Don't be selfish. Play to win, because the NBA executives, right, they know this game, right? The evaluators know. So if they see you jacking up threes with 20 seconds left on the shot clock when the contested 3, they're not going to like that. And all the players played so hard during this tournament. It was great. We had the testing. We had the combine testing. They got interviews. All these things about Portsmouth is an advantage 4 college seniors, or we call them 4+ seniors, and the 4-year players. Because, next week we have our GLeague showcase combined with our Chicago Combine. And one of the things the players are understanding now is that it's not a tiered event, because there's just not enough space in terms of pre-draft kind of exposure. Mm-hmm. And this is just one of those things. Now, we're going to have a number of players from Portsmouth that go to Chicago, and that's a good thing too. But it was a successful event, and the players did well. There's not a player there that said, "Yeah, I didn't help myself here."
Now, do you know when the invites for the GLeague Combine will be announced?
I do not know when they're going to be announced. Usually the invites have gone out. They only have a few days to confirm or accept. And usually it's just maybe a day before. Sometimes we just show up and then we know who's going to be there. I don't worry about it so much. I just show up and start the process.
How long have you been involved at the P.I.T?
I've been involved. I've been going there since I was 5 years old, when it was at the old Holiday Inn with the bugs going around the floor and stuff. And then we graduated to, they put in a new hotel. I was back there with, when Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen. So I've been involved as part of the selection committee since the 90s. And have helped put on the event since then, and it's a great collective affair of volunteers. It's one of the great events that the NBA teams look forward to, because when you go to Chicago, it's kind of high and tight. Chicago's run great. We're at a new Wintrust Arena. The hotel's next door, but the access that you get from Portsmouth is that it's such a community, and of course the GMs and executives love that, because it's just not stuffy, and you have access to the players, and it's not so uptight. And although Chicago, I'm not saying that it's uptight, it's structured, and you have probably a different kind of access to it, and it's definitely organized, and you have more, including, in Chicago, you have more, you got the testing, the medical testing, et cetera. But it's done extremely well. This year for Portsmouth, we brought in the NBA players referee program, which was great. We had college referees, and they did a wonderful job throughout many of the years, but we implemented this program alongside the NBA players, or sorry, the NBA referee program, and they came in and they nailed it. They really did, because we want their program to work, but we also want a flow of the game, and it was a 10.0 with the dismount for them too.
We're going to shift to NBA draft talk in just a minute, but one last question about the P.I.T. How do you and the committee select players for the Invitational?
So the NBA teams, all the NBA teams vote on a ballot. And this year the ballot was, of course, extended, because we have more and more prospects, including the 4+ seniors and the 4-year seniors. So and it's tallied by votes.
Okay. All right. NBA draft lottery is going to be May 17th. You got the eligibility candidate list finally was announced. Let's talk about draft specifically. In your mind, your opinion, which position is the strength of the 2022 NBA draft?
Woo. Well, I'll say this, Kris. There's not 5 positions anymore.
Right.
Back in the 90s, we used to, my father and I would say that, listen, there's 11 to 19 different positions. If you take someone like let's take our projected 3 to 4 year, or 3 or 4 top picks. You got Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga. What position is he? Can he play center? Can he play small forward? Is he a power forward? Paulo Banchero, same thing, from Duke. He's more of a power forward, but he can go out there and shoot the three. Can he develop more into a versatile player? You got Jabari Smith, who's a 6'10". Is he a power forward? I mean, he can shoot it from deep. Can he become a better defender? So you're looking at right there's three bigs that have versatility, and of course they're at the top of the list of the draft, and that's what you want. You want versatility in this game. Now that doesn't mean that if you're not as versatile as those guys, that you can't play in the NBA. You have a Jaden Ivey from Purdue who is a combo guard. Can he run the point? Yes. Can he shoot it? Is he an unbelievable athlete? Yeah. Could he go 2, 3, 4? Yeah. Some people might consider him at 1? Maybe. So I think if you look on the depth, small guards or bigger perimeter players, it's going to be popular. We don't have an extremely deep point guard draft. And that can be, you can argue with that as well, because, the depth of guys, not just in the second round, but undrafted point guards, you're going to find that after the draft is over, that NBA teams are going to be on the phones trying to get point guards and other players immediately for their summer league rosters. You do have a number of bigs. I think that I think teams will go, okay, well, you know what? This guy may not develop into a perimeter player, but you know what? He rebounds. He hits the offensive glass. He's great screen setter, and he can pass, and he's a rim protector. Is that good enough for our team? And and if a team says, I think he can be in the league for 10 years, then you might take a chance, or not take a chance. You go, I feel more secure on that type of player than someone that has not improved themselves in that 1 year of college basketball.
What is your assessment of the G League? Do you think it's a good thing for some kids who really don't want to go to college?
I think with the G League, it's been a huge success. Sharif Abdul-Rahim, who's the president, he's been really killing it. You bring it in the G League Ignite for players that want to come in and develop. They have a program where they got great coaches, former NBA players. You've got in an NBA system, NBA coaches, trainers, etc. So the development is there. The access is there. Well, the one thing that college coaches and players, they contact me, they said, well, I have a choice. I'm not going to make it in the NBA. Do I go overseas or do I go play in the G League? And I said, well, that's not an easy answer. If you need to make some money or whatever, that's fine. You can still make money in the G League as well. But the most important thing, especially when your name is hot, you're young, you'd like to go in the G League because it's the most scouted professional league in the world. You got NBA coaches and a system, chance for 10-day call-ups, which you can't do overseas. And so you do all that, you're giving yourself the best opportunity, but most importantly, development. Because what people tend to forget is that you don't stop developing once you leave school.
Right.
You don't. So if you're getting the best coaching in an NBA system with the opportunities, and I'm an analytical guy, and you want to give yourself the best percentage. Plus, you're developing. You always need to work on your game. There's so many different stories of guys either in the G League or overseas, but in the G League that come, that develop. They get those chances, and it's about opportunity. This is not like tennis or golf where you can go out there and play and win, get to the next level. You got opinions of schmucks like myself, going, hey, you're not good enough. And then you got someone with a chip on his shoulder go, yeah, I am. And this is what I'm going to do to help myself. And I think G League is one of the greatest opportunities, and started by David Stern, of course, and our commissioner, Adam Silver, along with the G League peeps have just, they just keep pushing and making things better.
And once again, I'm speaking with Ryan Blake. And Ryan, what's your official basketball title? In case anybody's curious.
Consultant with the NBA.
Okay, and you touched on this. I want to kind of add to it a few minutes ago about I guess basketball is now positionless. Do you think that's one of the biggest changes in the NBA since you've been doing this, working with the league and drafting, evaluating?
Yeah. You see an evolution. Going back and when I was 5 years old, riding in the back of a car up near the window with my dad, going in an ABA game, watching Billy Cunningham play Julius Erving. I didn't know, right? But as I got older and older, and through my high school days when I started scouting at 17, and you see the development of that. We were always a true believer that the more versatile you are, you're going to be able to play in the NBA. That doesn't mean that you can't, like I've said before, that you can't be a shot blocker, rim protector, or whatever. You have to find an NBA position. And yes, positionless, yeah. But when you get a roster, all right, and teams are putting together a roster, you might have a rim protector that's a power forward, and you might have a Luka Doncic at the point. Then you might have a small forward that can also rebound and only hit the spot up three. So you're putting all these things together, and you go, okay, this will be my first unit, second unit. How those things can come together, and I think that's important. We have undersized power forwards and small forwards, and it works. One of the things someone asked me in another interview, Chet Holmgren, from Gonzaga, 7 foot and 110 pounds or something, he's not strong enough. And I go, well, he can get stronger, but you know what? Reggie Miller, Kevin Durant, are they strong? Can he be wiry strong? What are you going to do when, Paul Millsap is chasing Chet Holmgren down the court? Or vice versa, so those things come into play. I don't necessarily believe that, someone that's thin, that's going to play in the perimeter is going to be a huge thing that you go, not strong enough, he's not going to get stronger. No, I think when you come to evaluation, you think of a circle graph, right? You got your scouts, you got your green room, and you're shading in those things. You're doing all your work. You might bring in some analytics. You do all your homework, and you just keep shading in those things. One of the things, when we go to, whether we do our testing, our combine testing, the combine at Portsmouth, in terms of those testing, you might find out that, oh my God, this lug has unbelievable speed and, lateral quickness. We didn't know that. We had written him off. All right, well, let's bring him in for some workouts, and you might find, oh my God, what we missed. It's not an exact science, Kris, but I think the harder the workers that work harder, the evaluators, and collect as much information, it makes them easier to make a decision, whether it's right or wrong sometimes. But for the most part, it's so hard to predict what's inside a player.
Right.
But when you go, if you do as much homework as you can, then you're going to be more confident and do a better job in your picks. What's
your assessment of Keegan Murray?
So Keegan's an interesting player. Is he a power forward? Is he a small forward? He's 6'8", 225, unbelievable athlete, right? Great field goal percentage in underneath. He can shoot it. I think for someone like him, where can he play? He can play in a couple positions. He has a great opportunity to dominate inside, spread the defense, get back inside, become a better passer, become a better defender. So his upside is extremely high, especially, as at that position.
Have you had a chance to see, I guess we call him Kentucky's Shaedon Sharpe, even though he didn't play this year?
Nope. Yeah. So yes. So Shaedon Sharpe, he joined Kentucky in January and never played. 6'6", I think. as a small guard, that was ranked #1 in the recruiting class. I think his individual workouts are going to really determine where he's going to go. There has been, and what we're going to see too is like he'll be invited to Chicago. He'll turn down. I have a feeling he'll turn down the opportunity and play in front of the other scouts because I think some mock drafts or the buzz on him is that he'll go high. The NBA teams have seen him in practice, allowed to go to those practices, but have not seen him play. His upside is extremely high. Very athletic, great size, but there is that question mark. How long will it take to develop? Can he come in immediately to play? And some teams will go, I need to wait a little bit. I need immediate help. But then some teams will go, you know what? That's a good investment. So,
as an evaluator, for this 2022 draft, do you have a top prospect in your opinion?
The top prospect for me, I mean, there's so many players to like. Coming from Portsmouth, I go, man, this guy is so heady. You got a 4-year college player that I think can come in and come off the bench of an NBA team. And then you look at, a future all-star, and I look at Jabari Smith from Auburn, 6'10", can stroke it from deep, extremely athletic, calm and cool on the inside, team leader. He's only going to get better. I think that he played such a team role that when he gets a little bit of freedom and show that he's going to play both ends of the floor, I think his confidence is going to soar. I mean, I think he has confidence, but it's not that overconfidence. Mm-hmm. And you'll want this player on your team.
From your outside perspective of the Houston Rockets, what do you think are their biggest needs?
Well, I think depth. I mean, you have you definitely have a good foundation there with Green and some others. If they do get in the top 3, you're going to have 3 players. I think in Holmgren, Banchero, and Jabari Smith that can absolutely come in and play alongside or come in and make that immediate impact. I think some veteran leadership. There's going to be some draft, and during this draft, there's going to be a lot of trades. And there's going to be a lot of positions that, in terms of draft picks, other teams will be picking for another team. How many picks does Houston have?
2 in the first round.
2 in the first. Yeah. So whether they keep that second pick, they trade for, they pick an international player that may not be ready and put them overseas and let that team develop them. That's also a strategy that a number of teams will use. If they're not happy or not sure about certain players, or if an international player has a huge buyout and you go, you know what, we got a good roster, we'll take an international player and then not offer them a buyout, and then they go back overseas.
And almost done with you. Speaking with Ryan Blake, in your opinion, are there other potential draft picks who could have an immediate impact for their team that drafts them this coming season?
Yeah, I think so. And there's a number of players that I think this is why it's such a deep draft. You might like Benedict Mathurin from Arizona, Agbaji from Kansas. Those guys, I think, can come in, especially like Agbaji, who was the MVP of the NCAA tournament, or the big, I think it was the Big Ten or the conference tournament. He's just such a leader, plays both ends of the floor. It might not be a guy that's going to go, okay, he's going to be rookie of the year or he's going to average 15 points a game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. You know, a lot of times upperclassmen can get overlooked. He's on everybody's radar. But you also have other players too. You know, I don't think this is a great point guard class in terms of first round, but there's some good ones. You know, Ty Washington, Kennedy Chandler from Tennessee. We talked about Ivy, who could be, a combo point, can play two positions. So, and you're going to find guys that didn't get drafted that are going to make NBA teams. And that's what's so interesting about this. You can go up, you see the guys on my staff, we always do mock drafts, you know, but you can't look at the mock drafts, we come up with, and then after that, I said, how did we do? Well, the NBA teams didn't pick who we wanted to pick, but you can't evaluate your mock draft on someone else's pick. You got to evaluate that after about 3 years.
And I'm just going to wrap it up. What is your assessment of this draft, the talent in this draft compared to last year's draft?
I think the depth here is there's more depth. I think that, again, like after the 60th pick, about 12:30 in the morning on that Thursday, I think it's the 23rd, I'll be sitting in there, and I think there's going to be a lot of calls, going, oh man, you know what? We didn't get our pick, but we need a point guard. We need that third point guard on our team. Let's call Jeremy Bouye, get him on our roster, or a Devontae Jones from Michigan. We need to get him. And you're going to find those guys, making an NBA team next year. And you're going to also find, like, hey, remember, you got your G League guys, Beauchamp, some of those guys as well that you might find that are going to be drafted in the first round. You might find that the hidden gems that slip into the second round. And when those gems get slipped in the second round, you got even stronger players that might not get drafted, because in the second round, Kris, sometimes teams will go, you know what? I need to get that international player. I'm going to hit that international player and store him overseas for a while. And hopefully that becomes a hidden gem. Don't need to pay anybody this year for that.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, Ryan, Blake. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we got together. So
you got it, Kris. It was good talking with you, and holler anytime.
Thank you very much, Ryan. You take care.
Take care.